Miss Bartny made her way away from the payphone at the back of the diner, which Race and herself had just taken a moment in. Their adrenaline had been pumping, but now things had calmed down. They'd confronted each other. Things weren't exactly as she had hoped, but this was her chance to sort of make a bit of a headway in an important case that she was curious about. As she headed outside, she saw Race standing outside looking up at the sky. He'd been looking up, curious for a while. As he got out there, he asked her a very simple question. How do you know when it's going to snow here in your country? I mean, it's devilishly cold, but we're so close to the coast, I have no idea if this sort of weather is conducive for, snow. What's this got to do with anything? I don't know, if we end up hanging off of another building again, and I don't want to slip in the ice, do I? We are not hanging off another building. Look, I just called up the department. They made some inquiries about that Captain Darcy fellow that you're curious about. They found a lead. They think they know where he is right now. Captain Darcy. Wonderful. Where is he? Race's mind went back to the hotel room where he found Templeton's dead body. He remembered the slip of paper that had Captain Darcy's name written on it, and the ruse that he undertook in order to try and find this man. Ironically, he ended up finding Miss Bartny instead. So far, a pretty good partner in crime. He is indeed a sailor. He is down at his usual haunt by the docks. If we go there now, he's usually drinking there until the morning, though I don't know how the lack of alcohol might change his usual routine. But I get the suspicion that prohibition may not have slowed down the type of joints that he likes to visit. And with that, both Race and Bartny jump once more into a cab and as quickly as they can make their way across town to find Captain Darcy at the Old Sea Bar. G'day ladies and gentlemen, it has been quite a while since I've made one of these things. This is The Big Dry. It is a Ironsworn driven game. But unlike Ironsworn, we're not facing off against fantasy creatures. We are solving a murder mystery. But the fun thing about this murder mystery is, well, even though I'm telling you this story, I actually don't quite know how it's going to go. It is all down to the roll of the dice and what maybe we, are able to piece together through our investigations. I'm making another one of these ones. I've noticed there's been a few people poking around and watching some of these things, so I thought I would make another one to put up there for you guys. I'm hoping you're enjoying them. Remember, you can play along at home as we get further into the case, get more clues come up. You're more than welcome to, in the chat, just post any comments as to theories as to how this case might have gone. I'm not going to say I'm going to follow the theories. I've kind of got some ideas floating around in my own head. A reminder, we're investigating the murder of Mr. Templeton, a British diplomat. Race, our detective, was accidentally brought into this case. He's now investigating around to find out what's going on. Big important information. Templeton met up with a mysterious Miss, I forgot her name already, Janet Mayhern, an artist of some sort. When we followed up who this Janet was, we found that she had an apartment that she was staying at. But when we investigated the apartment, we found a unwanted individual. We encountered Mr. Colburn. Oh man, it's been so long that I can't barely even remember all these people's names. Colden. And he was someone who was at the hotel the night of the murder. He gave us information about the shaved-headed lady. He knew more about her than he was letting on when we first interviewed him. He was actually at her apartment talking to someone who we don't know who it was, but they were someone who was running in fear from something. Another lead that we're following was this Captain Darcy. Like I said, we found his name on a slip of paper. And at first we tried to deceive some police officers into revealing what information they might have had. But it didn't work. Well, it kind of did. We did find out quite a lot of information. We found out there was like a drugging situation going on in the apartment, like a bottle in the air vent, just, drugging him in that way. We know that Miss Janet was in the hotel at 1 o'clock in the morning. So what was that about? But there was no argument, there was no fighting that was overheard. But most importantly, we met Miss Bartny, and Miss Bartny is now accompanying us. She thinks that we are a diplomat. So our relationship is based on a lie, so I'm hoping she doesn't find that out. But while she's with us, she's obviously assisting us greatly in this investigation. But we were trying to find a certain Mr. Darcy, Captain Darcy, and, well, that's now paid off. Okay, so Miss Bartny got some information as to where Mr. Darcy is right now. I actually rolled to determine whether or not the information we received on Captain Darcy was overly useful or not. I actually got a strong hit. So we know exactly where he is right now. If we go there quickly, we're able to find him. I figured it would be his haunt. He's the place that he stays to drink. It's Prohibition, though. It's not. It's New York City Prohibition. So that might put a wrinkle into his usual debaucheries. What I'm going to do is I'm going to find out what this kind of place is. I'm assuming it's going to be some sort of bar. But let's find out. Let's roll the location descriptor. I'm going to use the Ironsworn tables for this. So Ironsworn by Sean Tompkins. Find out more. Jump into the website. Great game, free. So give it a go. Why not? It's not all New York crime fiction-y, but it's quite a good game. So I'm going to roll on the location descriptor. What kind of watering hole is it? It is the kind of watering hole that is... I'm trying to remember which dice is which. Light blue is the tens column. 63. It's barren. Interesting. So when he goes to the bar, the watering hole, when he gets there, I'm thinking there's no one outside. Oh, I know. There's no one outside. The place is barren. Most of New York City is kind of still rolling on. It's the city that never sleeps, And you would think that now with the lack of alcohol and people wouldn't be going out and partying late into the night as much anymore. Well, it turns out things haven't apparently slowed all that much. As they drive through the city, they can see people still going to and fro, some of whom with a slight conspicuous stagger. Wasn't the amendment to resolve some of this stuff? But when they finally get down to the docks, there's a few bars around the place that have got some salty sailors coming in and out and the usual sort of things going on. But when they finally make it to the address given to them by the police department, they find that the lights are mostly off. There's one light they can still see down in the front of the shop. But there's no one outside, no one in the street. A few people stagger past, they have a look in the windows, but they then quickly move on. Clearly, no one is there. Now, according to Matt David's roll tables, I'm using his random tables, 49, the bar is called the Wandering Haven. So they arrive at the Wandering Haven, there's one light on, but no one else is really there. They pull up in the cab, they approach the door, and as they go to it, they look in through the window, and inside they see how many solitary figures. I'm going to roll a d6. Inside they see one. They see one solitary figure sitting by the bar. Otherwise, every other light's out. The only light is coming from just like a lamp near the bloke himself. And he's just sitting there. Let's just go on a limb and say that he's smoking. He has a pipe, bit of smoke coming up. Go to the door, and they rattle the handle, and a voice cries out, "We're closed!" The voice is fairly indistinct, but it's clearly a chap of some sort. What do we do? So Race wants to get in and at least find out where he might be able to find this. This could be Captain Darcy himself. So he wants to find out who this is. So he's going to call back. He's going to find out more. Using his wit. Place is closed down. Place is closed down. So we're going to assume that it's closed because potentially it's actually following the prohibition rules. That this is a bar that no longer has alcohol. And so that's why there's no one here. So Race is looking in the window, he's seeing this bloke, and he has an idea that might work here. I would imagine a bar without any alcohol would be in sorry need of patrons. You're not going to turn us away at the door now, are you? Alright. Witty move, maybe. I mean, they're not really patrons, but, you know, they'll buy something if there's something for sale. So, +3 to the roll. Oh, you got a 6, which beats out 6 + 3, beats out the 7 and 4 nice and easily. So, it works. The figure rises up from the bar. He looks and he slowly approaches the door. He's in silhouette as the light from the bar sort of goes behind him. He comes, he opens the door. The voice speaks out. Well, I suppose so. They can't quite get sight of what he looks like because of the silhouette. The voice, who knows, but they can certainly smell the tobacco. And they make their way into this bar. The bar is clean. The bar has been swept. The stools are up on the tables. The place is closed because there's no alcohol. Well, that's what Race is assuming. As he goes in, he approaches the bar. The man goes behind the bar, possibly to offer what they've got to sell. Who knows what they've got to sell? I mean, if they were once a drinking bar. But as he goes behind the bar, the light shines on his face, and we actually get to see what this man looks like. And what does he look like? More to the point, is this Captain Darcy? He might not be. He might be. I don't know. Let's find out what he looks like. As the light illuminates this man, he's clearly past his prime. He's quite fat. He's got quite a amount of girth to him. However, clearly at one point in his life, he wasn't always just this sort of barfly. He has on an outfit, it says an adventurer's outfit, let's say uniform. He looks like some sort of naval uniform. It's now like, you've got other bits added to it, but at the base of it, an old uniform is what this guy is wearing. Average height. And he's got deformed ears. Now, we're going to say that specifically, he's got those sort of cauliflower's ears. This guy has clearly been in a lot of fist fights. And not only his ears all sort of puffy and stuff like that, he's got a bit of a bent nose. We'll go with the full cliche. So he's clearly someone who's been beaten around the place. Now, on top of that, we don't know if this is Darcy yet, so we won't roll his full character. But what we are going to use, we're going to use the Une system to decide what bearing he has in this conversation. According to the dice, he is looking pretty. So according to the Une thing, unsurprisingly, he's fairly suspicious. He's a bit suspicious of these people coming in, asking for food from a bar that's got asking for service from a bar that's got no drink. But, you know, he's willing to play along. He's inquisitive. He's curious. And he sits down, big ears, big belly, smoking his pipe. Let's find out what this guy's all about, shall we? Tell me, what the hell are you doing here? Fine couple like yourselves. This bar is clearly not open, and yet you want service here. What do you really want? Well, from the smell of things, you certainly got some fine English tobacco right there. I wonder if I could have a pipe. Well, it's true, I do certainly have a lot of that. One moment, I think I've got a pipe around here somewhere. The old man proceeds to rummage through under the bar, clearly tickled by the suggestion of having a smoke. He finds a pipe, he gets out some of his own tobacco, he's got plenty of it. He hands the pipe over. Race begins to load the pipe. He knows how to do it, so you know he's watching him do this, and he's quite impressed with his technique of loading it, tamping it down, lighting it, the whole shebang. Bartny's sitting there like, okay, like she's not that she's never smoked before in her life, but English tobacco is very strong. So she's sitting there like, what is going on? But the two men soon to proceed to sit almost in silence as they begin to sort of slowly puff away at these pipes. And all of a sudden the mood and the atmosphere in the place begins to calm down just a little bit. It's Race who breaks the silence first. What the devil are you doing here? I mean, this place is barren and dead. You're a fine, strapping young specimen. Why are you here? I was enjoying the silence, I suppose, predominantly. This is my old haunt. I used to come here all the time. Enjoy the company. You know, where everybody knows your name, you know. But prohibition comes in, and the alcohol's got to go. So does everyone else. No, I came here just to remember the old times, the good times. But you haven't answered my question, not really yet. What's a fine young couple like you doing here? It's not exactly a romantic spot now, is it? Well, we're not exactly a couple now, are we, darling? No, we're here poking around, making some inquiries, you know, just trying to get the lay of the land, to be perfectly honest. We've got some business which has got us entangled, and we thought we'd be able to find someone here that would help us out. Isn't that right? Bartny looks at Race, not quite sure how to play this. Are we revealing that we're police? Are we keeping that secret? She's not quite sure, because she's good at this normally, because she actually is an undercover cop, but you don't normally be both very open and secretive at the same time. But she takes his lead. Yes, we're trying to find someone, and obviously someone like yourself who knows everybody's name may be able to help us in that investigation. I did know some people here in my time, so I suppose I could be willing to help, but why on earth would I assist two lovely strangers such as yourself, even if you are so good at loading tobacco's pipes? That is a good question, but I think the real question is really, how could we help you? Okay, so Race is very quickly turning the tables here. He's suggesting that this might be a back scratching situation, which wasn't what was expected. Wasn't expected. He just quickly shifted the conversation. So we're going to say it's an edge roll. Well, I don't exactly know what you could do for someone like me. And again, you are being very enigmatic. Look, young man, I've been around the block. I've sailed the seven seas. I've encountered many assaults, and some I don't entirely like. So what I really want you to do is play straight with me. I might be able to help you. I'm happy to come into arrangement with you, but if I'm going to go into business with someone, I would like to know that they are trustworthy. To know that what I share with them doesn't end up in, I don't know, the hands of the police or some gang or just any sort of ne'er-do-well like that. So who are you? My name's David Race. I'm from England, obviously, and I am investigating the death of an acquaintance. That's very forward. You just sort of put it out there that that's what they're here for. Bartny, sitting nearby, she doesn't really know what he's doing, but she knows how to play her face. She knows that she's got the oration skills. She's good at being an undercover cop. So she more or less stares back at this old man with very sincere eyes. So as he glances across to look at her to see if she flinches, she doesn't. And when he looks at Race's eyes, is he sincere enough for him to believe this straightforward action? My word, that is serious. An acquaintance who died. A lot of acquaintances of mine have died. Why should I care? Well, you should care. Because when the man died, he died with, some evidence in his apartment. Certain names that are now a focus of the investigation. And he died with a certain name coming from his very lips. Captain Darcy. With that lie, the man's eyes flinch. The name clearly registers with him. And he doesn't say anything. He just draws another puff from his pipe. You say you're a man who's sailed the seven seas. Have you ever made it so far as, England? Or important bits of land along the American coast that might be interesting to certain English diplomats? The relationship between this side of the pond and that side of the pond is stronger than most people think, even with all the isolationist tendencies that we have. I might know some people over there. I might know about some land that is interesting to those people over there. all this stuff is quite important to me and quite important to other people. Very important to other people. I must be honest. How do I know that when I share this with you, it won't come back to harm me in some way? My dear fellow, you are a man of the world. You don't deal with these sorts of people. You don't shrug off the suggestion of murder and not already have a certain level of confidence about yourself. I think you can handle yourself. I think you'll be fine. In addition to that, you will have someone who genuinely is seeking to get to the bottom of what's going on. And if you help said person, you have yourself a friend. So please, use your wits about this. I think we could make a rather good partnership. At this point, Bartny chimes in. In addition to that, I have contacts with the authorities, the kinds that actually try to keep people safe. We can keep an eye on this bar, maybe keep an eye on you, if you're willing to help us. The old man draws in a puff of his smoke. His eyes flick forward, a little devilish smile hidden behind those retinas. He doesn't say anything, but he likes these two. He doesn't trust them entirely, but he knows they're capable. He knows that they're fairly straight talking with him. He feels pretty good about them. And that leads us to Race being able to now ask the final question. We've filled up our stat bar. What do we know? We know that he is aware of Captain Darcy. Look, he probably is Captain Darcy. We don't know that for sure. But we also know he has some dealings with Brits. And he is dealing with sort of land along the coast, which is suspicious because that's kind of why Templeton was here in the first place, looking for land deals. We have one last question to ask him. He knows about Brits. He knows about land deals along here. He knows what's up. I could ask him if he's Mr. Darcy, but I feel that's a bit of a waste of a question. So I'm thinking instead, we're going to ask what he knows about these land deals. And maybe what they're for, more importantly. Look, to be frank with you, with these government agencies that I'm a part of, sometimes the right hand doesn't really know what the left hand is doing. And by the time that the left hand is dead, the right hand is left picking up the pieces, trying to figure out what it was doing. So, look, you say you have some awareness of the activities of important people, important British people along the coast, along the seaboard. What's going on? Why would a bunch of British people have any interest in what's going on here? And why would anyone here have any interest in Brits coming in and purchasing land for God knows what? Again, these departments, where I'm part of, don't quite know clearly what others are doing. So tell me, what's up with all these land deals along the coast? Okay, we got a 10. We've got the full conversation. We feel the full track. Strong hit, weak hit, miss. Got to get 2 10s for a miss. Nah, 7 to 4. Strong hit. Okay, but what is going on? What is going on with the coast? Okay, this is good. So we've got a strong hit. He's going to tell us something pretty useful, that means. Whether he's Captain Darcy or not, he's going to tell us something useful. Right. Okay, we're going to make use of Ironsworn again. We're going to roll on some of their tables. What I'm thinking we'll do is we'll roll on coastal locations and we'll roll on theme. Coastal location and theme, and we'll work from there. So, let's see. Okay, so we rolled on the Ironsworn tables. We wanted to have a look at. We rolled the location. They wanted by estuaries along the coast, little ways into land for some reason. maybe using them as like sort of natural ports, ways of getting in and out. And then when I rolled on action and theme, why did they roll for it? Well, they wanted to gather the world. Gather the world. I have an idea. Tell me, Mr. Race, what do you know about the old press gangs back in the day? Well, that's a sore point to talk about to a sailor. Well, that was when British gentlemen like my good self would come across to the States, and we would force your best sailors to join us in our navy. But that was a long time ago. What's that got to do with anything now? You would be surprised. There are still people that your government are interested in. People from the UK, people from Europe, people from all around the world, to be perfectly honest. And a large portion of them end up, well, here. These poor and huddled masses make their way to the mother of exiles. Here they are, finding new homes, new lives in these places. But of course, not everyone's happy that they're here. People here are not awfully keen on new arrivals. But also people in your country are not overly keen on people hiding and finding a new place here. So what they do is they keep their eyes out, they keep their ears out. And on occasion, when they need to, they reach out and take people. It's convenient to have a location for them to spirit away these particular individuals. And so often they, purchase estuaries, access into lakes, stuff like that. So that way they can get their ships to come in, come out, maybe pass through onto another harbour. And all you need is a team of strong rowers and plenty of strong rope. And you're able to take a less than willing individual from the shore to a boat without even having to slow down. No, they gather up those that they want from around the world that have made their way here and take them back into their own clutches. Race stares into the mirror at the back of the bar, his eyes glazing back at the people going to and fro. He can barely bring himself to look at himself. Bartny's looking at Race. She doesn't quite know what to make of it, but for a moment she can almost feel a certain level of shame. Could they be involved in some sort of kidnapping operation? Why? We're allies. And at first she feels a little bit of anger and a bit of indignation. If this was true, it'd be ridiculous. How dare they? But before she says anything, she does look at Race and she sees just for a moment shame? As if Race knows that something like this is possible, but he doesn't like it. Tell me, my good man, do you know why they're taking these individuals? Such goings on are beyond me, sadly. I merely get asked if there are some useful spots along the coast. I take some diplomats to have a look, and they pay me. I hear rumours. Sometimes I verify the rumours by going for little fishing trips near these estuaries, but why these people are taken, I don't know. I'm sorry. With that, Race and Bartny bid their farewells. They get up from the bar, thanks him for the smoke, and he makes his way to the door. As Race reaches the door, he turns back and he utters, "Oh, my kind regards to Captain Darcy, by the way." Is this guy Captain Darcy? Look, it's probably going to stay enigmatic, but I am just darn curious. Is it Darcy? I think it's likely. We'll roll on the, table. On the oracles on Ironsworn. It's likely. I'm not going to say certain, it's likely. 26 or greater. Yeah, it's him. But he never lets on. They're all too classy for that kind of thing, aren't they? I'll let him know that he's got someone watching his back. He certainly would appreciate that kind of thing. And like that, they make their way onto the street. Just walking at this stage. Why on earth would your government be kidnapping people from our country? I don't know. I mean, are we talking citizens here? Are we talking illegal immigrants? But even if it was that, you have no right to act in such a way on our soil. I don't know who these people are, and I'm aware of your sovereignty. And what the hell has this got to do with Templeton? Was Templeton one of these people? We should have asked him if Templeton was the one. I mean, he might have had something to do with... Look, Templeton was probably involved. I have no idea what they're doing. The reality is, this is not beyond the type of thing that I've seen in the past. I believe that people in my country are... He can barely get the words out. They choke in his throat. He can't quite say they're trying to do the right thing. This is not the first time shady things have happened in the name of the king. Okay, I acknowledge that. But I am also aware that whenever these sort of power plays happen, death follows. It's the bargains that empires make with one another that usually lead to a lot of young people dying on foreign soils. Look, let's just keep going, keep following some more leads, and maybe if we find out who killed this Templeton, why, we can also uncover a little bit more about what the hell is going on. At this stage, things are starting to quiet down by the docks. It is very early in the morning. Still dark, though. They can hear the sound of seagulls calling out across what would be an open, clear, blue sea. But that sea is, of course, shrouded in complete darkness. Alright, so we will call it there. Not a huge amount of evidence came out of that one, but man, was it a big juicy one. We talked to this old man. It was probably Captain Darcy. It was Captain Darcy. We rolled as Captain Darcy. And he revealed just one very important thing. Maybe two. He has dealings with British diplomats. Probably Templeton is one of them. And what he revealed is what these diplomats are doing is they are purchasing land on the coast, and they're using them as kind of staging areas for really, really shady stuff. In particular, kidnapping people. We don't know who, we don't know why, we don't know anything. All we know is they're able to get in, get out without anyone noticing because of these little estuaries along the coast, that they're buying up and using for goodness knows what. But we're going to call it there. What has this got to do with the fearful man in the apartment? I mean, is he one of these people that's going to get kidnapped? What's this got to do with the artist, Miss Janet Mayhearn? Maybe nothing. It could all be red herrings. Or this murder might be the gateway into a much larger and insidious conspiracy. But we will only find out by investigating further, by letting the dice show us what it has in store for us. Thank you again for watching. I really do appreciate that. By all means, like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of thing. Again, in the chat, put some comments as to what you think might be going on. I've got the fudge jar up here. It's a jar at the moment, so I lost the other cup. All fudges are going to be going to the Australian Cancer Council. Can I encourage you, Google that, find out more about what they do, because they do some good work. But other than that, I hope that you will see me some other time. See you later. Ugh.